I was thinking back on this experience that I had at summer camp as a kid. I was probably around 7 or 8 years old. We were sleeping outside in a field and looking at the stars and looking at the shooting stars. Our camp counselor explained to us how it took, however many millions of years for the light to reach us. I couldn't fall asleep that night, and I just laid there looking at the sky. As an adult, I look back on that and realized that that was probably my most intense and most just honest and pure experience of the sublime that I've had in my life.
Night to me is really interesting. You see a lot that you wouldn't expect to see that happens under cover of darkness. It's a different way of exploring the world. And I like those edges of where you almost can't see, sort of pushing the limits of our perception.
Fear and awe before God are idealized in a lot of Jewish sources. On the other hand, you do have a long tradition of talking back to God, of examples of what might be called chutzpah in relation to God. The fear of God is somehow an entry point into a love of God.
I spend a lot of time just going on long drives and looking at the landscape. So I've created paintings that I used as negatives that I lay on top of the paper in the darkroom. People will come over and I get the same set of questions, like what filter did you use? And it's very rarely, what paints did you use? We're so used to accepting the Hubble images as real that represent this unfathomable thing.
In the first chapter of Genesis, it states, Vayhi erev vayhi boker. First there's the evening and then there's the morning. This is unfolding in the case of Genesis 1 in a time before time, which is to say it's a kind of eternity. You can encounter something transcendent, perhaps the divine, in a particular space, which is very material and very present and very there. There's a there-ness to it. And yet somehow that is a portal to something that exceeds completely any sense of confined space.
The piece in the exhibition is a video installation that I shot in Chile at one of the clearest lakes in the world. I shot it pretty late at night. It was the only night that the lake looked like that. It's beautiful, but there is an intersection of nature and culture there. It's actually one of the ground zero places for global warming. I think the longer you are in with the video, you do experience changes in perceptions, and if you leave and come back, you have a different perceptual experience. I'm really interested in perception and how we see changes physically, as well as how we see is influenced by media and culture.
I appreciate that the Contemporary Jewish Museum is trying to expand what is considered Jewish, what kinds of things can be explored in the context of a Jewish museum. I think in a very good way the museum is kind of pushing the boundaries